Well guys, I have just arrived outside of our place today. I'm going to be showing you around a house that is known for something. If you read the title, you understand this is the murder house located just outside San Alexandro over here in the United Colonies. Now this is the American part of the world and features buildings mainly from California, as this beautiful little farmhouse is over here built by Berge, and there's something else over there I'm not allowed to show you yet. But what I can show you is this building right here, the Rosenheim Mansion, also known as the murder house from American Horror Story, and it's also known as the murder house here on our server. I like how when I go over this part of the world, it suddenly all goes green and everything looks weird. But yeah, so this has been one of my Halloween builds for this year. I say by one because I have a couple more actually ready to come out at some point soon. But first of all, I want to show you guys around the inside of this because I've actually done some interior for once. I know, shoot me. No, please don't. But what is really interesting is just the landscape we have going on around here. So before we even get inside the house, I want to say that changing the biomes really adds to the atmosphere. So let's take all these shaders off for a second and I'll show you what it looks like without that on. So obviously this is how it looks without the shaders on, and it still has that look to it. I mean, the rain's obviously getting in the way, but if we come over here where it is savanna, so this is just normal plains, and over here we have savanna, which gives it this nice crisp look to it, makes all the leaves turn that sort of yellowy colour, and it gives the house a different feel about the place. It doesn't affect these leaves on the pine trees very much, but we have got patches where it's raining inside different biomes. It's a little bit buggy when you do it with World Edit, but what it does do is it gives this nice impression of a faraway sort of landscape. Definitely looks more Californian up round here. Right, let's put the shaders back on and carry on this tour on the inside. Right, without further ado, let's take our first steps up to the front door. Now, during the American Horror Story series, there used to be lots of shots sort of the house through this main gate here. Now, I wanted to make sure I captured that main view as best as I can, because to me that just screams terror. Just look at this place. So the outside of the building was really hard to do. Now, I did manage to build this building around about probably 1.5 to 1 size, so it's slightly larger than the real one. The real building is only about 20 meters long there. I think this is just under 30, about 29, 28. So I managed to get all the details in there as best as I could at this scale. The original window in the video for the time-lapse, which if you haven't already watched, please go check it out. I really had a lot of fun making it. The cinematics in there are some of my favourite I've ever done. Just the music placement and all sorts. Yeah, okay, that's fine. That's enough plugging for my own video. But in the original time-lapse, you can see the glass in these windows were actually stained. They weren't open like this. I made a decision to change it because in real life they are stained glass windows, but here it wasn't given the right effect with the rest of it because in our texture pack we haven't changed the edges of all the stained glass. So anyway, that's a little bit of an inside there. But what really does work at picking out these details is the fact that I've added warped wood drain pipes here. So they're obviously just fences, but to me they look like drain pipes that are made out of copper, and that is what it is in the real world. The same with these warped woods up here. Now this is using our texture pack where we have filled in the insides of these trapdoors, so it gives it that little bit of a different take to it. Now there's a little feature up here that probably not many of you noticed. This is the lightning rod. Now with the debug stick, the lightning rod can be turned on and off. So let me show you that. So if you right click on it, you can make sure it's powered or unpowered. I mean, even unpowered might help give a little bit of detail, but when you power it, it turns bright white. Now luckily, it doesn't actually give off any light itself, so it can be used in conjunction with the rest of the quartz around here, and also these iron trapdoors which we've painted quartz coloured, and that gives it a really nice little interesting effect to act as that central window pillar. On the top here I have gone for using some copper. This is waxed copper cut slabs, and I think that goes really nicely with the rest of the build because these bits in real life were slightly thicker as well than what this section was around here. So I am stalling to get inside because I really like these little details out here. This was another little feature. When you see chimneys on big houses, they usually have a little tie cable in to make sure nothing blows them over. So we got one here made out of a chain and another one over there as well made out of a chain, which I think looks really nice. You do get some good views from up here on the roof, although we're probably not meant to be up on the roof. Right, let's carry on this tour then around the main way. So if we come in through the sort of driveway here, we can see a pumpkin hanging from a tree. This is something random that I put together because you got the new drip leaves in 1.17, which we finally updated to. and they kind of look like hanging vines, and then you can hang a pumpkin from it. And then I realised that pumpkins do not grow on vines. So yeah, that was a little bit of a mistake, but I left it here as it looked quite cool next to the swing. Now this swing featured heavily in the video, in the time-lapse if you didn't already notice. Count Wobula and the other Count Wobulas all sat on it as well, and there's a picture I think I have, I'll insert it if I do have it, if not I'll retake it, where I'm sitting on this bench with Count Wobula behind me, and it's one of the creepiest pictures I've ever taken. So the rest of the garden we're going to get round to have a look at in a bit once we've had a look inside. So stalling for time, as always, let's head on inside the murder house. Right, okay, so the front door is ready to be opened. Oh, what horrors lie inside here. So what we get greeted with is a nice long corridor down to the dining room. It's all open plan down there. And then we have the main entrance here for the staircase going up. And just look at that window. This, again, was one of those views I just had to recreate. In real life, it looks just like this. Okay, maybe not just like this, but it does have the same impression as we do here. So what I like going on here is the dark, heavy woods around the top, which really help bring you down, crush you, make you feel a bit scared. Okay, that's probably a bit too much, but yeah. So where should we go first? I think we're going to leave this basement for later. There's some stuff down there, which I think you probably all have already seen. And also over there's some stuff for later as well. So that leaves this one room to have a look in first. So welcome to the office. So this is Albert Rosenheim's office, so the lawyer who used to live in this house. Now this lawyer, as I've mentioned previously, he was a murderer, he was a serial killer, so he would come in here with his victims and, I don't know, try and conduct law with them, and then suddenly he ends up murdering them, and yeah, we'll go to the site of the murders in a bit. But yeah, it's just your normal sort of bench. What I have done is debugged these corners so they look like table legs. Kind of works, and we've used snow here on the table to give it that impression of you've got paperwork going through. Now the candles just add so much depth to this place. I love it. I love candles now, and also the light blocks. So you're probably wondering, how is this glowing? So in Java now we actually have light blocks, and you have to look up how to get them because I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, they're really useful, and they deliver this sort of impression of light but without a source. Perfect. So anyway, this bookshelf design here was actually one done by Wob for a project you haven't seen yet, but you will eventually. I know I keep pointing that project on. But yeah, so this is a nice little detail here. It gives you that impression of like glass cupboard with some books behind it. So let's venture on now round to this side. We're going to come in to the orangery. And this is just a conservatory that looks out across the garden. Now the house is abandoned currently and has been for about 4 years, so you can see all of the grass that's starting to grow up, and it's not looking as pretty out there as it used to. But back in its heyday, when this building was built, you could come out here and sit and look out and gaze across the open countryside up there. What lovely views. So I've gone in here for the impression of the early 20th century wicker fashion. Now wicker chairs and wicker tables were all the rage at the end of the 19th century, and this is sort of my impression of how to do it here. Lots of birch and also some scaffolding. So this room connects two other rooms together, so we're going to come through into here into the library. So this is a small little room, and what I've done here is I've used glow lichen on the walls to give it a sort of impression of some wallpaper. Ignore this bit where it's disappeared. And this was an idea I think Duncan came up with recently on the server, but it may have been someone else, I can't remember now. And what's going on here is we're using the same wall from in there, so you can see it's just shared that way. And that gives you a nice little bit of depth in this room, so you don't have to build out the wall anymore. But yeah, so through that door there is the kitchen. We'll go that way in a second. So let's head on back out into the hallway and go off down this way into the dining room. So the dining room is this large open space in here with another one of these bookcases. Yes, my ideas aren't that original, and some end tables made from anvils and candles. But the main feature piece is this large table in the centre, with Steve's head just severed there on the table. Let's try and ignore that. So in the time lapse in the cinematic, you saw several Count Wobulas sitting around here discussing some evil doings. Now, in the lore, those are all ghosts. He is dead. I think he died last time, or several years back, and so he can just do things like that. There will be a whole feature-length video coming out soon as to the history of this place, and also the reason why I'm here, because I'm not usually over in this part of the world, and there are certain reasons. I'm looking for a book book, and that's all I can really say right now. It's important to the CDP, yes. No, we're not doing an advert. This isn't the update tour. Anyway, so I think if we go through into here now, we will see the horrors that are before us in the kitchen. Yeah, the kitchen's just a pile of flesh. This is kind of how the police found it when they came in and found Albert's body just murdered in the other room. And they realised that he was just piling up big old piles of flesh in the kitchen. So moving on out to the back door into the gardens, and you can see the washed out colours here on this lovely stormy day. I'm saying it way too cheerily. And the garden is just a nice big spacious affair, and you get some good views of the house from back here. But what I liked is this little veranda here. Now when I was doing the whole sort of build, there was no real definition of what the back garden looked like, because in real life there is a chapel that sits along the back here. So what I did was I looked up the videos for the actual series, and this is kind of what they had. I have used a lot of this sort of liberal interpretation of what's going on here, so the rest of it is made up on the spot, but I think it works. It all holds together. It has that early 20th century feel about it, even Edwardian if you want to go down that route. So I'm heading over into this corner of the garden, which is where lots of graves are. Now these graves appeared after Albert was killed. These aren't that not that old, and there's some green candles lying about the place. I believe this is the site of these worshippers of the gherkin that turn up around here. Anyway, so there's a little detail at the back I liked. This is just a sort of shed that's collapsed in on itself over the years where it's not been looked after. And I think Sasquatch Onion came on and made these little hanging totems, hanging things from, he said they were inspired by True Detective Season 1 with Matthew McConaughey. Now that's a strange reference that I kind of remembered but also didn't. But anyway, right, let's head back on inside and carry on this tour around the house. Right, so we're back in the hallway here. Actually, there was one room I forgot to show you. It's just a small little murder room or something. Thank you, Goblin, for making this. This is a nice little feature. You can see there's a lot of heads lying around. Yeah, we've installed a head plugin on the server, so it gives you those extra little bit of details now. So before we go into the basement, I want to head upstairs and show you what we've done around here. So what this is on the walls here, this may make some of you scream. These aren't slabs, they are trapdoors, just iron trapdoors that you can open up like this, and you can see they aren't slabs, but it just gives this a bit more conical feel to the room. I think there's missing one there, but it kind of works anyway. Then you have the big window. You can look out upon there and see who's coming up the drive or anything like that. It just gives loads of light in here. And then we're going to head off round into the bedrooms. You can see this house is definitely quite abandoned now. I don't even know how long do stalactites take to grow. This one's dripping into a bucket. There's nothing dead in there, hopefully. So this is the master bedroom. As you can see, it's become quite overgrown. Someone's left their rubber suit in the corner. Okay, we'll ignore that for a second. And a very strange bathtub. Right. I don't think there's... Yeah, this is creeping me out a little bit, but this is quite cool. So what's happened here is you can now use invisible item frames on this server as well. I don't know if we could before, but apparently they're a thing. And it allows you to put little details in like this. So this is just a compass that acts like the sort of dial for the showers. And yeah, this is not the best place for a shower, is it? When people are coming up the driveway, they're just going to see you... see you just scrubbing away there. Right, anyway, let's leave this strange room and see what else is up here. Yeah, that is a nod to anyone that's watched Season 1 of American Horror Story. You'll know exactly who that dude is. Let's look in this room. Right, okay, let's not look in this room. And let's go on round to the back here. Oh, okay. Wub? Why is there a painting of you at the back of this hallway? Yeah, I have questions too. Right, well that's the upstairs done. I'm going to meet you back down by the staircase. Okay, so after the strangeness of upstairs, I don't know what's going on up there. There is no attic room. We never built that, unfortunately. But what was built was this little section around the front here. So if you walk around this side, you get these two little windows from the front there that you can see out here, and they just kind of give a little bit of light. In real life, I believe this is a bathroom. In this, it's just a small little room that you walk around to get into the basement. Now, I'm going to grab myself a candle out. There we go, let's get this out. And we're going to wander on down into the basement level. So, yeah, this place is creepy. Now, I really liked how it turned out. I think it's definitely got that vibe of just very creepy. Look at this place. Lots of skulls lying around the place. These dripstones really help build that feel of deadness around here. But what was quite an interesting little design I did do, okay, ignore that, is this little furnace over here. So using the new grimstone, the polished grimstone, this kind of looks like a big metal furnace with the chimneys going up. You've got the 2 burners here, which again, I've actually placed a piece of light in front of it, so it helps that glow without actually having them lit. And then we've got a big old pile of coal here, so that we can keep this furnace running forever. If we head on back round this way, past the cobwebs and the big old supports under here, we have a bit more along the shelves, and my head. Okay. It's getting a little bit creepy. Also a missing block, but ignore that. Anyway, so coming around the back here, we have the room that a lot of you have actually seen already, especially if you watched my short where I was lying up here while the Count Wobula came in. Let me just do that again. I nearly got there. So this is part of a plugin we've got on our server as well, which is meant to help with sitting down, but it also does laying as well. And it's really weird how it works, but it just adds so much more to the game. But yeah, this is a strange little operating theatre. Again, it's a nod to the original series where they had sort of black market operations happening in the basement, thanks to one of the owners of the house. But yeah, I've gone for liberal use of copper around here, and I think it works really well, especially for a ceiling like that. Then we have vials and jars and pickles on there. And again, this light has been set up using the light block, so you can see it sitting down there below. Just this adds so much more detail to our server now. But yep, so that's concluding the tour around the basement. Let me meet you guys back out the front to give us goodbyes. Well, there we have it, guys. So this is the murder house from American Horror Story Season 1. And like I said, I really enjoyed building it. I think it's turned out to be one of my better builds I've actually done recently. It's definitely got me back into wanting to build more. Now, there is going to be another Halloween video this month as well. I had planned 4, but clearly 4 was way too much for this. This one took me about 2 weeks to get into the state it's in. Now, the next one is going to be a bit more swampy. We're going to, well, I kind of based it on some stuff in the Mississippi Valley, the Mississippi region of America. So I'll see if you can guess what I might be doing. But anyway, guys, thank you all for watching as the sky turns green again. So anyway, guys, remember, get inspired, get building, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.